Hi, dreamers. Well, I'm back. And as you know, I'm fully living off of my investment income at the moment. And this month, I was not able to optimize and do research every day, and I'll explain why. But there's a lot to be learned from this month's experience of being a multi-million dollar investor, and you can see the difference in my performance. So let's get to it. Today, I'll review the end of the month totals where I show you my dividend and options income. This month I made over $17,000 in investment income, so let's take a look at the detail. Okay, so here we are in the spreadsheet, and you can see that in May of 2024 I made $7,827 in dividends, and that can be compared to the same market basket of stocks in February of 2024, where I made $7,139. And as we look into the detail, we can see that the bulk of that came in week 2, with over $4,000. So let's take a look at the detail. I got $47 from Canadian Imperial Bank, and then over $100 from my first payment of Devo, followed by just about $600 from PTY, my only bond fund. Going into week 2, I got $66 from EBF, almost $1,700 from JEPQ, and $2,554 from BTI. Going into week 3, I got $9 from APLE, $62 from STAG, $186 from AbbVie, $180 from Realty Income, over $200 from CFG. I've got a very small position in Apple that I just hang on to keep an eye on it. And then going into week 4 and 5, I got $176 from Sunoco, which, as a side note, on Friday I watched the share price dip below $50, and so I actually picked up another 200 shares of Sunoco, doubling my position, as I see this as a nice oil rebound play. I just couldn't help myself. I got a very small position from Texas Instruments because I did an option on it, and it got called away, because this stock position has been appreciating nicely with a recent surge, so I'll be doing puts on it until I get it back. I got $123 from a growing position in Maine, $184 from my new position in QQQI, which I did a dedicated video on, and $637 from my growing position in SPYI, which I also did a dedicated video on. I got $190 from BMO, just a couple dollars from MSCI, which was a stock I bought opportunistically when it recently dipped, and I just bought one share with some play money. I got $24 from Gain, $145 from BST, $129 from SVOL, which is just a small position for me that I'm testing out. I got $161 from JHG, and another $330 from Devo. And that's what made up my $7,827 in dividends in May. So going over to options, I made just over $8,600 in May, which is quite a reduction from the over $20,000 I made in April and just about $20,000 I made in March. And here's where a lot of the learnings came in for me in May. I created 57 contracts, but 18 of those contracts were assigned, which included stock positions like IIPR, Cisco, GSK, and Qualcomm, which has had a meteoric rise, and finally got called away. And most of those assignments happened on May 17th, which, if you recall, was when the Dow Jones crossed 40,000 points and really crested. So one of the learnings I had was I went ahead and let those stock positions assign, and then kept a lot of my money in cash because I felt like the stock market had really gotten very, very hot. And that actually proved to be a wise move, as we then saw a couple of weeks of downturn. And so during this couple of weeks, I really didn't do a lot of options. I didn't set up puts, and I didn't do calls. I basically did nothing. And part of that was me watching the market, and the other part was me just busy in life. So what exactly did I do? Well, I played options on TNA and TQQQ, which I really just do for the options. I also played my sort of everyday positions in a very light way, and that includes things like Pepsi, IBM, Texas Instruments, and AbbVie. But additionally, I've been really focused on the tech sector, and that includes SMH, Microsoft, and QQQ. And so you'll be seeing a lot more of me playing that as we go forward. But one of the biggest learnings for me is the following. In May, I took 1 week of vacation, which if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw photos of. I also took 1 week to move back into my house after a long hiatus of me at my lake house where I was prepping it for sale. In addition, when I got back to my house, I promptly got sick. And then after that, I got called to jury duty and served on a trial that lasted a week. So why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because that $8,000 a month in options is partly because of me looking at the market and partly because I was simply very busy in life. And that's actually something to be aware of as you think about moving into a financially independent state where you're relying on options. Because my dividends continued to roll in and work without me thinking about it, without me having to do anything. But when I was unable to really focus on the market for options, you can see my income got cut in about half. And I also got assigned a lot more, 18 assignments out of 57 contracts. And part of that is that meteoric rise, but the other part of that is simply me unable to stare at the screen and be close to a computer for all that time in May. And so that's just something to be aware of as you think about how much time and effort it takes to generate significant options versus the time it takes for dividends. Dividends are way more passive income, and that's just something to be aware of. And so let's finish with my cumulative investment income chart. So as of May, you can see here that my dividend total for 2022 in blue was about $29,900. And my dividend cumulative total for 2023 was $39,882. So my dividend total for 2024 is $40,765. But in terms of all-in investment income, as you know, I started options trading in 2023. So my cumulative all-in total for 2023 was $56,906. And then the light green bar is the all-in cumulative total as of May in 2024 at $113,253. Because, oh, by the way, also in May, I made about $700 in interest because I had a lot of cash just laying around. And with me crossing the $100,000 mark in only 5 months, that tells me that I'm on track for about $250,000 this year. And I wonder if I could break $300,000. Now, wouldn't that be an incredible journey? I know that some of you guys have been following me for over a year and have seen me grow my dividend income, but also really grow into a pretty sophisticated options trader. Let's see how far I can push it this year while remaining true to my core values of being relatively conservative and methodical about staying within my rules on the stock selection side for dividends and also the risk management side for options. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this dividend income update. And if you want a richer, real-time experience with me, you can always follow me on Instagram or X. And if you're doing your own research using Seeking Alpha, feel free to find the link below to subscribe if you want, no pressure. As always, I encourage you to do your own research, then implement and learn by putting it into practice. And as a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos are for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.